Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions or changes to the agenda?
Yes, I would like to change 7.3 to a discussion.
Okay. And I would like to, it's not really on this agenda, but I'm going to add it anyways, as when the meeting adjourns, we will be holding a board retreat. That's going to be stated in the notice today, just so that's not stated. Anything else? A motion to approve the agenda as amended. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion to approve the minutes of September 8th, regular meeting. Discussion on this? All those in favor? And need a motion for the consent agenda. It is 3.1 through 4.2.
I will be abstaining from 4.2.
Okay. So do we have to do them individually?
Or she can just abstain from the whole thing.
And I need a motion?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on treasurer's report, consideration of claims, transportation report, cafeteria report, independent audit, the mentors, and the health flag?
No.
All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
Now we are up to the nightlight. I'll turn it over to Matt.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm happy tonight to be here to speak on behalf of really a whole group of people here at ACS, and I'm thrilled that they're actually here to be recognized. As you know, the nightlight it's really, we've gone a lot of different directions to recognize special people and special accomplishments here at ACS, and this month is certainly no exception. Our buildings and grounds team this year, with the capital project that's been going on really for 2 years now, had a monumental task to get this building ready for the start of the school year. Those of you that were in the building from June 1st on, right up to the first day of school, know what a mess this building is during construction. The task of getting school ready for the start of school is steep to begin with. The capital project really compounded things this year. And really, in retrospect, this is probably the third year in a row where this team has had to deal with real adverse conditions in August and early September getting the building ready. In 2020, with new COVID protocols, 2021 with newer COVID protocols, and then this year returning to in-person learning full-time, and then with the capital project. It was a real team effort. So this month, we'd like to recognize our buildings and grounds, our facilities team for their hard work. Most of them are here tonight. I would like to recognize all of them individually and ask you folks to come up, receive a certificate, and we'll take a picture with Michelle and Bill afterwards in front of the backdrop. I will also recognize those that aren't in attendance that are certainly worthy of recognition as well. Our Director of Facilities and leader of the team, Randy Freeman. All right, cleaner, and you. Lori Alter, who's not in attendance. Jason Camp. So again, thank you for your continued hard work, and in advance for your continued hard work. In the next 9 months will continue to be a challenge with the ongoing construction. And here's to a easier August 2023 and getting ready for next school year. So if you would please come up for a quick picture with Michelle and Bill. Thank you.
Come on in.
Together picture, everybody?
Yes.
Everybody picture? Okay.
Pretend we like each other. Sit on in. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Thank you. We thank you more.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Wow, we're already at public participation. So, that was quick. Please remember our public participation protocol. And make sure you let us know your name. No, I didn't print it this time. Under 3 minutes, 5 minutes, we extended it. So please come to the front or write online and let us know. I can't get online print, so I'll be here.
No comments at the moment.
Okay.
Yes. 3 people watching on
All right. If you have something and you're online, go ahead and write. We'll get you on the next one. I need a motion to accept the resignation of Tina Whitney, the teacher aide bus aide, effective August 29th, recommended by the director of PPS and the superintendent. Sincere appreciation for services rendered to the district.
Second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to accept the resignation of Matthew Haley as building maintenance helper effective October 14th, 2022, as recommended by the Director of Facilities and the Superintendent with sincere appreciation for services rendered to the district.
Second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve Rachel Nasmos as probationary behavioral specialist effective October 5th, as recommended by the Director of PPS and Superintendent.
Second.
Discussion will be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to revise Patricia Muscari to full-time teacher aide bus aide effective October 14th, as recommended by the Director of PPS and Superintendent.
I'll second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to approve Ellen Eglert to the substitute list as recommended by the administrative team and superintendent.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the appointment of the winter coaches contingent upon significant number of participants for the competition and upon meeting the coaching certification requirements as mandated by New York State law and as recommended by the athletic director and superintendent. Please note that the Board of Education reserves the right to cancel appointments if circumstances should arise concerning the safety of the students.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve Kathleen Stahl, Morgan Larson, Julie Dedrick as advisors for the middle school production of Matilda Jr. on December 9th and 10th, as recommended by the secondary principal and superintendent. Please note that the Board of Education reserves the right to cancel the appointments if circumstances should arise concerning the safety of students.
Move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to approve the recommendation of the committees on special education and preschool education.
Second.
Discussion would be an executive session. All those in favor?
Aye.
And now we're at 7.3, which is now a discussion on the school resource officer. I'll turn it over to Bill.
Yeah, I asked to change this from a recommended action to a discussion, as the contract, the draft contract that we have been working on with current revisions has been sent to Madison County. The Madison County attorneys are reviewing that draft. Once it's approved by the Madison County attorneys, it has to go to their Justice Committee for approval. Once we have that back, then we can take action on it as a board. So we don't have that back, so there's no action to be taken tonight. And that draft contract will not be shared with the public. That's a contract that's within the board and within the administrative team and our school attorneys until approved, and then it can be foiled by the public.
Were we able to give some input into that contract? Is that,
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so we
took some of the language from Syracuse?
Yep, the suggestions from the public, we looked at draft contracts, the Syracuse contract, those were all melded together. Those suggestions from the public were taken into consideration. We worked with our school attorney to make revisions. You had revisions. Those went to our school attorney. They put together a draft that was then sent to Madison County for their review.
And then when if they have some changes, we'll look at that and kind of.
Correct.
We can work that out online before next meeting.
Yes. Yep. Yep. So once we have it back from Madison County, if they have changes, we'll review that as a team internally, and then it'll go back to them.
And then if for whatever reason, at that point, if the board would decide, or you would decide that you want more changes, if we go back through the whole process and have to go through the whole judiciary appointment.
Correct.
So where are we looking? I'm going to make a heavy assumption here that, we'll get this back, everyone will be all happy, everything's moving forward. Where is a conservative timeline for an actual officer in the building?
I would say conservative would be the first of the year. Because once a contract is approved, we then have to go through the interview process, and then put somebody in place and onboard them with training that we have identified as being important before they start the position here.
So for whatever reason, maybe, for whatever reason, if there's any changes moving forward, it would just push that timeline back even further.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thanks for all the hard work you put into this too. I know that took a lot of time and effort and a lot of good reasons to do that, so I really appreciate your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, I need a motion to approve Hamilton's participation on Waterville's indoor track program, Waterville, as recommended by the athletic director and superintendent.
Second?
Waterville, and not, in the past we've done Morrisville, or I was just surprised that there was one.
So, yep, so we have an athlete who's in attendance tonight that has been very successful in running and has a passion for running, and came forward to our athletic director and asked if there's an opportunity to run indoor track. We obviously don't have indoor track. And indoor track is a bit different than other sports where you combine. Indoor track does not combine. It's called partnering or piggybacking for classification reasons. So if we combined, that would bump Waterville up, or whoever we combined with, to a different classification. They don't do that in indoor track. So Joe, if you approve this, will run at Waterville as a Hamilton athlete. He'll wear a Hamilton uniform. He'll be a team
That's
of
awesome.
one.
I wore a Morrisville one, and it was not fun. So good for you.
But what you're doing by approving this is you're approving the Waterville coach to be his
I noticed it was written
volunteer
differently. Okay.
coach.
Yep.
So he will be coached by Waterville. He will run as a team of one as a Hamilton athlete with Waterville partnered for their indoor track season, which is a great opportunity for Joe.
So here's my question.
Mhm.
If Hamilton athlete, how does that work with transportation? He just
So-
runs there.
Good point.
All right, yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Just like any of our combining sports, the parents are responsible for transportation.
Well, that's great.
It's a great opportunity.
Yes.
I Hamilton sweatshirt overnight until the actual race started. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thanks for coming.
Yeah. Bill, here's 7.5. Do you believe?
So next week is the New York State School Boards Association, it's School Board Recognition Week. So this is the annual opportunity for us to say thank you and recognize you for the countless hours, the dedication, the hard work, because these are hard positions. And you sacrifice your personal time, you sacrifice family time, and we so much appreciate everything you do. This school could not be as successful as it is without your leadership. And we want to appreciate you and we want to thank you. So I would like to read NYSBA's press release. So the New York State School Boards Association recognizes October 17th through the 21st as School Board Recognition Week. This is a time to promote awareness and understanding of the important work performed by local school boards. Public schools form the bedrock for communities in our country. Democracy thrives with educated citizens capable of critical thinking and civil discourse. And it is in our local school boards who are ultimately responsible for student success. It takes strong schools to build a strong community, and these board members devote countless hours to making sure our schools are helping every child learn at a higher level. They make the tough decisions every month and spend many hours studying educational issues and regulations in order to provide the kind of accountability our community stakeholders expect. Some of the key work is to raise student achievement by developing a shared vision and goals for the district, ensuring strategies, resources, policies, and programs that are aligned with district goals, assessing and providing accountability for student achievement, supporting a healthy school district culture in which to work and learn, evaluating the superintendent to ensure continuous improvement, and so much more. School board members give the Hamilton community a voice in education decision-making. Even though we make a special effort to show our appreciation, their contribution is a year-round commitment. So thank you very much. We have some gifts that we'd like to share with you and publicly recognize you for all you do. So thank you, if you would all. Michelle.
People sometimes say it's a thankless job. They don't know about board ratio.
Right,
That's
there
right.
you go.
This is the one thank you get.
Jen, thank you.
Doesn't look like Morgan had any monkeys.
You will appreciate me.
You made my keychain one year?
Oh, okay.
The coasters, I'm just still loving the coasters.
Corey, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
I was like, wait, I've seen that mug before.
Is it a NISBA month?
Yeah.
And Travis.
It's a heavy bag.
Appreciate it. So on behalf of everybody here, we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Administrators updates. Thank you all for getting back to the writing of your
Yes,
updates.
thank you.
Thank you.
We hope that you enjoyed the reprieve for the first month, but we appreciate you very much doing the updates for us for this. Any questions for the administrators?
Chris, I have a question on the parent square attendance.
Sure.
I did not know about that feature and was very intrigued to learn about that. So can you expand on that just a little bit?
Sure. So it's a lot like what's happening all around the world. So now the entire process is completely automated. So the system checks school tool at a time that we've agreed upon with principals when all attendance has to be in. So then the system checks at that time, and any student that's been marked absent automatically gets a text or an email that says your student is marked absent today, and you can actually just click right on the alert that you get, and send in an excuse. right
That's
there.
so neat.
Or you can go to the attendance office and say,
Yes.
no, I was really there and something happened. I had a friend that got the message, that my kid is in school, I dropped him off. And once they got in touch with the school, they realized that that was the case. But it was really cool because none of us had ever seen it before, so it's not nice.
And
Very good.
it's saving Heather a lot of time.
I can
That is.
imagine. That's great feature.
And I had a question for Mark. One of the things you had on your paperwork was programming with Alana. Is that for staff or students or both?
Students, we're gonna try to pilot it. We're looking at sixth grade. Scheduling is a bit difficult right now, trying to find the right time. But middle school was the target.
Okay.
Currently it's sixth grade, but it may be seventh or eighth, depending
Okay.
on when we can fit it into the schedule.
How did open house go for them?
Good. Good. Get a lot of tables out.
Yeah.
Kevin, how's the online service working out?
We're working through some kinks, for sure. We've done, I think we've completed 2 full evaluations, which has included 1 classroom observation. Now, we're learning as we go. Chris has been super helpful with technology. So far, the kids have done, the evaluations have gone real smooth as far as sitting at the desk with the evaluator there. All materials are there ahead of time. It's a lot of coordination, so there's a lot of extra time myself talking to the evaluators. A lot of things are done through the emails, whereas, you know, Michelle's office is right there. So, you know, I think it's working as well as it could, is what I would say.
And do you think we're getting through the, I'm assuming we have a backlog?
No, the backlog is growing because we really didn't get evaluations off the ground until about a week ago. So, you know, I was anticipating having our backlog taken care of by the end of September. You know, by the time, you know, the Presence Learning, who were contracted through, was able to secure, they originally secured a psychologist for us, pulled her back after we met and figured everything out, gave us a new psychologist, said that one's going to be sent somewhere else. We went through the training with her, trained our TA that sits in there during the evaluations, and then they said, "Oh, we're going to have 2 psychologists for you because we don't think we can get through all your reports here." So then we had to go through a training with a new person. Yeah, it's been a little tricky, but we're up and running, and I think everything's well. And then, you know, our trained TA that's in the room is out 3 days, so then, now we have to train. So, little things like that, just, it's running as smooth as it can. So, more to come though as we really bite into these evals and observations.
Do we still have no applicants for that? position?
0. I didn't check today.
Hopeful.
I have a meeting next week with someone who's interested in joining our district to look at her credentials, to see if she would fit one of our needs.
Yeah, I mean, we still want a live psychologist. This is not,
Yeah, you're not selling this as a
No.
replacement.
no, it's doing the job.
Right.
Is that one of the many positions that's just hard to fill now?
Yes, the other districts, our BOCES went the whole year last year with that as an empty position. There was not a ton of psychologists in the field, school psychologists in the field to begin with, but what's happening now is kind of what happened to us. They're leaving to do online services and making quite a bit more money than working from home.
And the credentials are much different between a school psychologist and a psychologist.
Oh yeah, you can't just hire a psychologist. You have to be a school psychologist.
Other questions for that guy?
No, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just, if I could just jump in, quick update on the capital project. We're progressing along. We're really close to kind of reaching one of the more significant benchmarks, and that is the locker room area being turned over to us for use. So we're finally to the point where they're just cleaning things up, their punch list, as they call it. Either by tomorrow afternoon or early next week, we'll be sort of moving everything back in. Kids will be getting into the locker room and starting to utilize it. So it's exciting.
It's clean for how many days?
Yeah. Yeah. And then, the attention will then shift towards the media center, LGI area, and the fax space, which they've been doing quite a bit of work in there right along. Interestingly enough, this year, calendar year 2022, was the year that we were required to complete the state mandated building condition survey, the architect. So while our architects have been on site with the ongoing project, they've also been doing work for our next building condition survey, our current building condition survey, which will really sort of provide a roadmap for our 5-year plan and, believe it or not, start planning our next capital improvement project, which will be coming right along here. So initial stages of planning, and really what that building condition survey is used to prioritize the next stages of work that have to be done.
Is that something we have to put out RFPs for, or?
We don't have to. We did not. We were, there was a great incentive to use our current architect in order to maximize. It's an aidable service, so there was a way for us to sort of work with them and couple things in with work that they're currently doing to save money by having them do that as well. So it'll be reported to the board. You'll be able to see the full report with things prioritized, and they kind of break things down. Obviously, health and safety is the number one priority as far as what needs to get done next. So that's exciting. And as you know, we just kind of put the final bow on 2021-22 from the fiscal statement, with our audit and financial statements. So now we can dive right into 22-23, start getting ready for 23-24.
So since I submitted my report, the niche rankings have come out, and I'm happy to say that we again are ranked as one of the top districts in the county and the state. We're number 3 in Madison County, and we are number 319 out of 670 school districts in New York State with an overall grade of a B. So we continue to do really well. The metrics and the algorithms that they use to determine these rankings, good luck trying to figure out. So we just had a conversation, Chris, Matt, and I, about that. And, but it's nice recognition for us.
If we look good, we'll use it.
Exactly. So we're happy about that. Any questions on the report that I submitted to you? We continue to strive to make work progressing towards our goals that you set forth in teaching and learning and health and safety. I'm excited that our DEI, Inclusion and Belonging Inclusivity Committee, is going to meet in October. We've identified some areas that we would like to look at, starting with our DEI policy draft, and then focusing on initiatives that support our LGBTQIA+ students and our students of color and our socioeconomic diversity. So we've started to look at a gender and name change policy and process. I shouldn't say policy, process internally that we'll use for students who choose to have their names changed in school tools. So we're putting together that process, and that'll be part of the work of the DEI committee.
Is there space for pronouns in school too?
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's a nickname area that we can put in. Yep. So we're excited about that. And then we are sending, we've committed funding to send faculty members to a conference offered by MO BOCES regarding the anti-racist curriculum project, geared specifically towards social studies. That will take place in March. So we're going to send staff members to that. So I think that's really exciting
Do you know
for
for
us.
the end, or is that still?
Pardon me?
Do you know who?
Who's going?
Yeah. Is that-
Heather and Mark, do we know?
Is that geared toward one elementary or middle school, high school, or is it?
It's
Both.
Yeah,
Both.
grades 4 and up.
Yeah.
So, one fourth grade teacher, one fifth grade teacher.
And social studies.
Oh, social
Yes.
skills. Great.
Questions for Bill? Steering team updates, elementary.
Ooh, that's me. I got a whole page. It was a big day.
I'm glad you remember that.
What's that?
I'm glad you wrote it down. This
Well,
was
I-
like 2 years ago.
I went to your notes because I could not dig it out without going through notes. So, so it was the first meeting of the year. I actually thought it was a great turnout in terms of parents, and that sort of stuff. So that was nice. Highlights, review of last year's work. The report card revision should be rolling out, and is easily adaptable. So as it rolls out, it can be adapted as time and experience dictates. And then a lot of time was spent talking about ideas for the coming year. It sounds like there was a lot of interest in a student-driven, or student-suggested and student-driven project about a comfortable cafeteria, acknowledging that different students have different needs, and so looking at small group tables, big group tables, perhaps something like booths that help to decrease sound for students for whom sound can be overwhelming, and different lighting structures and things like that, acoustic tiles. I actually was pretty excited. It's good timing because we go to NISBA and we get to walk through the expo hall and we get to go shopping even though we're not going to buy anything. It's like window shopping. It'll still be fun. So it'll be good. And talking about all sorts of other parent events, many of which have already happened with open house and library info meeting, talking about planning wellness days, and talking about updating cafeteria menus to note gluten-free and vegetarian, those sorts of things, looking at DEI events, parent-student technology nights, bridges presentations for parents, career fairs, and then, bringing back the science fair, literature and math nights. And there was also a discussion, I'm gonna look at Chris, and Morgan, about making sure that if there are events going on, that people may be able to, if we can, that parents or families who may not be able to get here could zoom in and see some of the events and things like that. So, just one of the things we discussed. So, just to increase access for people who may not be able to get a babysitter, or may not be able to get here, or may not, if it's an amenable event.
First meeting. Secondary?
Earlier, we were trying to figure out, kind of, again, same thing, first meeting of the year, so we're trying to get some feet under us of figuring out what we're going to be doing for the year. We were trying to figure out how to make sure we have increased student participation, which in the past, students kind of come and go sometimes during that. We really want to have some more solid student participation that's consistent throughout the year. And thinking about, kind of had some brainstorming about how we model the work of the steering committee, make sure we're coming up with a lot of good ideas and what are the things we can pull in and some ways we can deal with that. And that includes, we're thinking about looking at the shared decision-making plan, which really, if you read it, doesn't read like it's tailored necessarily for our school. It seems like what it is, which is a required document. So what can we do to maybe tailor that, or if there's, what's the room we have there to make that a more usable document, useful for everybody. And think about, maybe looking at how other steering, Mark was going to look at, reach out to some of his colleagues at other schools and see how their steering teams work, and maybe some ideas of how we could be best use that steering team to really make a difference, including some resources with some speakers and other professionals. So those are some of the things we're going to be looking at. And then we're going to be revisiting kind of a survey, which I think we saw some of the data from as a board, but what we still aren't clear exactly. What are the data that we can get to the whole steering committee that we can start looking at some more? I think we saw some I think the steering committee, we were able to see some of the overall data, but not some of the specific comments that people were making. We thought, we're hoping we could get some kind of a something that could be shared to the committee that way that we could think about. I'm thinking about maybe redoing that survey again this year and comparing the results as, over time.
Great. Emerald Foundation, they are thinking ahead to different things to get people back for the all-class reunion. Trying to figure out when that'll be and how they can incorporate themselves into it and such. And they're working on connecting with the school and leadership at trying to introduce themselves back to the teachers. There's been a decent turnover in the last 5, 6, 8 years. To reintroduce who they are and what they do, to make sure that teachers are taking advantage when they have something that they can pass through the Emerald Foundation. And they have their annual mailing to all that support the Emerald Foundation will be going out shortly as well. Plugging all up. And then we don't put it on there, but I sit on the BOCES board, so I've been going to those meetings just so you all know that I actually do, and learning all of those things it's a very completely, utterly different board than the school board, which has been pretty interesting to learn about and how they function.
How's the food?
Food, they feed us well. Nothing else, we eat well.
You got recognized at the conference that I just attended on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah?
They put all the board members' names on the board and
Look at that.
thanked all of the board members and all of the administrators and everything.
Well, they just had to, all the tech people had to sit with us because we just had a whole new system and they all had to go through it. It was a one-on-one service because they knew we were all going to be trouble. So they fully staffed that meeting for that. It was pretty entertaining, actually. So that's going well. Just thought I'd share. Knowledge sharing, Jen has stuff.
It has pages.
I said I'd keep it short. So I attended the School Board Institute General Membership Meeting on September 29th at Oneida Madison Herkimer BOCES. It was really good. The presenters were Kathleen Gavitt and Jennifer Matthews from Ferrara. So they talked about IDEA format and responsibilities, some COVID stuff, a lot of student management topics, and DEI focus. So I started like some of the more important things, and some of this I'm assuming a lot of school officials know, but I thought it was really interesting that in 23-24 all schools they must have a plan in place for emergency remote instruction. There's no definition yet. There's don't know what's got to be in place, but I thought that was pretty to know. Least restrictive environment. This was new to me, maybe I should have known this, but I didn't realize that also included extracurricular activities. So they talked a lot about that, and it really made you think about stuff like that in a very different lens. Talked a lot about gender identity, so I'm glad to see that we're ahead of that. Faculty and staff really needing to be cognizant and using pronouns and names, making sure records are updated. There was a huge discussion on facilities use. So I was just curious, with our new locker rooms, how, like the changing space, is there any separate changing spaces in there? Okay, so I was like, wait, we just redid our locker rooms, because there's some districts that are having a really hard time with this.
I sent you that email, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, so,
wait, we just did the locker room. Please
yeah,
tell me.
I was like sitting there like, oh my gosh, please tell me, please tell me.
Much different this time around what was accounted for in the planning than in 1957 when the old
Yes. Well, and there's a lot of schools that are investing in like privacy screens and things like that to try to manage. In our dress code, we can no longer state like males must wear this, females must wear this, and I know we've talked about this before, so really being cognizant of that. They talked a lot about having a very student-focused commissioner right now, and so a lot of litigation is really siding with students and parents, whereas in the past it really would have been siding with school districts and things like that, and just really, really just being cognizant of that. Transgender students are protected class under the law, so we cannot isolate them. So again, that's where a lot of the locker room stuff came up. So there's one district that said, well, a lot of females are uncomfortable, so we're making a new space for them. Well, you can't do that because then you're excluding that person from the new space that you're making. So really being super cognizant of that. They were having a lot of really big issues with it. And Lindsay at Ferrara has graciously offered to do like some training presentations. She'd love to do one to the board, so I thought that would be great. And they're really promoting having a student education presentation to actually let our students know more about this stuff. This is really unfamiliar territory for them. Some things that we say and do are not acceptable, but you know, just trying to give them some background and education so that everyone's feeling more comfortable. And then the last thing I'll share, I just shared this with Bill because they put this on the screen and I thought it was like amazing when talking about DEI stuff. So, and I can share this with everyone too, but they had a poster and it had 5 different shoes on it. And it said, equality is everyone getting a pair of shoes. Diversity is everyone getting a different type of shoe. Equity is everyone getting a pair of shoes that fits. Acceptance is understanding we all wear different kinds of shoes. And then belonging is wearing the shoes you want without fear of judgment. And they put that up and everyone was just like, oh my gosh, like it just brings us in a totally different perspective of not just saying we offer this. You know, what if you're a size 6 and you get a size 9 shoe? Well, yeah, you have a shoe, but are you still going to be, is it really usable to you and things like that? So that it was actually really good. I was looking at the agenda at first and I was like, okay, there's some really good topics, but this could be very long. But it was really engaging and really good.
Yeah. Was that total presentation put on by Ferrara?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Advocacy update.
So I'm getting ready to sit in our lovely meeting on Monday that was like 5 hours last year. There's 43 resolutions this year, so again, if you guys have time, I know I'm still missing a couple people. If you have time to go through all of them and give me feedback on how we'd like to vote, I will do majority of all those and vote on behalf of all of us. And we'll be able to present that shortly after that.
You have to mentally prepare yourself for that meeting.
Oh my gosh, it's so long. Last year I thought it was gonna be an hour and I was like,
It's
okay,
virtual, right?
this-
Like, you get up and stretch your legs. And
yes. So, but it's long and
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And there's discussion in between every single resolution, so some of them just go on and on and on, and there's no time limit on anything, so it just goes on and on and on. So, yeah, so think of me on Monday.
Athletics update.
Yes, I will read Emily's report. The fall sports season has been very successful. We hope to continue that success into sectionals. We're ending the regular season for varsity soccer on Saturday the 15th. The seeding meetings take place on the 16th for postseason ranking and game assignments. We're very, very hopeful that the boys and girls soccer teams will be playing in the preliminary round, with Hamilton potentially hosting a boys and girls soccer game. The volleyball regular season ends in 2 weeks with their meeting and sectional play beginning the week of October 24th. We're hopeful that they also will be playing in the first round. Cross country will be finishing up on the 22nd with the Center State Conference meet. The JV and varsity modified seasons for soccer, volleyball, and cross country have been great learning experiences for our young athletes. The girls modified soccer team is currently undefeated. In all, we've had a very successful fall season with all of our 9 teams and 2 combined teams, football and field hockey. It's been wonderful seeing our student athletes practice, compete, and being cheered on by our spectators. For this fall season, we had 125 students in grades 7 through 12 participate in athletics. Modified girls volleyball signups are currently through Family ID for students in grades 7 and 8. Their season begins on October 24th and ends mid-December. A huge thank you to our coaching staff for their dedication to our student athletes this fall season, to our grounds crew for making sure the fields and gym are always ready for practice and competition, and to the transportation department for ensuring our athletes are able to get to their away games. Thank you to the administration and the board for their continued support of HCS athletics. Emily Freeth, our athletic director.
Great.
Bill, I have some athletic questions.
Yes.
In general,
Yep.
with your expertise, you might know some of the answers too.
Sure.
Was there much of a referee shortage this fall?
There was.
Did it affect us in any way?
Um,
Other than maybe one ref when normally be two?
Yeah, and some rescheduled, and some dates, you know, if you got, you know, thunder and lightning cancellations, you could reschedule for a certain day because there was no refs available. The trend and the rumor is that winter sports are gonna be really difficult because of lack of referees and again in the spring. So Section 3 is actively soliciting referees for all sports.
Are they seeing a trend in like specific sports, or is it
It's
just
across the board. It's across the board. Section 3 has a very mature crew of referees that are aging out, quite honestly, and there's not a young population that's taking over, so it's a real concern from a section standpoint. That's across the state. It's everywhere.
I think it's across all levels too. I know in my youth sport participation, I mean, with a lot of the issues that are occurring with refs, it's very hard to get anybody who wants to.
It is,
take it on.
and the youth sports, like Pop Warner football, the varsity referees have to do a certain amount of modifier or Pop Warner games. So the lack of varsity officials has a direct effect on the youth officials.
So moving on from referees, did I read something with I forget the acronym, but the Athletic Association for New York? Are they adding a division?
They are. They're going to 6 classifications.
When does that start, and where do we fall in the mix? I know that's a really complicated question to answer.
Yeah, I don't know the BEDS classifications. BEDS are what you're classified on for athletics based on enrollment. I don't know where we stand yet, but they are going to 6 classifications. It may have an effect on us because we're one of the larger Ds. But I don't know yet, so I don't want to publicly say where we'll end up.
Will that change who we find?
Could.
It could. That leads me to my last athletics question.
Sure.
I think it's been explained to me before, but it's really complicated. Why do some of our sports play teams from like hours away when we just can't play teams like locally? I know it's beyond our control, but is there any kind of advocacy for that? Because it's just a common sense thing, and
I'm not going to have Matt answer this question.
I swear I didn't put him up to this.
So we are a paying member of the Center State Conference. Many of our surrounding districts are paying members of the Central Counties League. So we are in 2 different leagues. So we have league obligations to play Old Forge, Remsen, Poland, whereas we don't have a league obligation to play Madison, Stockbridge. Sherburne-Irville is the Center State Conference team. So a lot of our surrounding schools, which are our size, are not in our league. So we can play them in non-league games, but being a paid member of the Center State Conference, you have to fulfill your league schedule, which mandates a certain amount of games within the schools in the Center State Conference.
And why do we pay to be in that league instead of the other one?
Do you want to know the
History,
reason I was just given last week?
Tradition. We could petition to not be a member of the Center State Conference. The problem getting out of the Center State Conference, the Central Counties League does not have a lot of the sports that we offer. They don't offer volleyball. Not that we don't have football anymore, field hockey anymore. So the reason we were a paying member of the Center State Conference is because those schools had like sports.
Be in that conference.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring this to another level. Moving forward, how are we supposed to get an electric bus to Old Forge?
That's a very good question that needs to be answered because they'll have to
Beyond your pay grade?
be, it's, you know, but that's something we have to think about.
Yeah,
When
I
when
mean-
we talk about electric buses and league alignments, and that'll be a whole conversation because there'll have to be a charging station in Old Forge if we continue to play them. And, you know, whatever that charging time will be, if it's 3 hours or whatever, or the bus has to be equipped with special batteries. Like, there's so many questions that have to be answered before that
One of the
happens.
municipal resolutions that we can vote on.
Which
It is one of the
The
resolutions.
state will fully fund all
No.
infrastructure for electric buses. and
Correct. Yeah.
Matt's head's about to explode, so.
Let's move on for
I'll
that.
move on from here.
It's, you know, I've
We've
been
been talking about that for months.
around long enough, it's going to happen.
No, I,
The electric buses.
It is,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like it or not, ready or not, it's going to happen.
The sheer expense of the buses is gonna be insane, in addition to the infrastructure.
Correct.
How it's going to happen, who's gonna make it happen,
It's mystery.
I don't know, but I think that it's going to happen. When exactly?
I guess back to my original question, and it might be what Michelle asked, like why we have to do it. You've explained those reasons, but it costs a fair amount of fuel to get to some of these, districts north of Utica.
It does.
So,
And it's been a topic of conversation. Why do we travel through Madison, Waterville, Clinton,
Oh, that trip to Webb.
to get to Old
Skip
Forge?
yeah,
You
I
know,
did not skip that.
and not play them, so,
I get it. It's just,
yeah.
just another thing to ponder. Thank you for explaining that to me.
Sure.
Extracurricular report.
Mark and Heather.
All right. I didn't even know who to look to.
So Language Club has 37 members. They've elected their officers. They've set up a bulletin board, and they had their club president talk about Hispanic Heritage Month during forum. And they also participated in the pumpkin walk and the trunk or treat. The junior class has their officers. They're discussing plans for the year. They also participated in the pumpkin walk and Spirit Week hallway decorations, getting ready for Raider Ball, which is tomorrow. So if you, after this meeting, if you have time, if you go upstairs, you'll see the decorations that they've spent some time this afternoon putting together. So that all the classes participate in that. Middle School Student Council, they've elected their officers. They've had 6 meetings to date. And they have 10 individuals that are consistent participants that are showing up. Freshman class have their officers. They hope to be able to get up to Colgate, because I've heard that the running concessions up there is a great fundraising opportunity for them. So they're kind of thinking ahead already to their senior year and trying to figure out how they're going to get their money. They've had 5 to 7 meetings so far. Ski Club, the advisors have been in contact with Labrador, so they're trying to secure their Thursday evening time slots and getting all the paperwork that's involved to get the passes and all of that together, and to clean it up a little bit, because the paperwork that was provided by the mountain in the past had been a little confusing and kind of hard to fill out, so they've cleaned that up a bit. And they have had an interest meeting, and they expect to start the 2nd week of January. 6 through 12 Art Club, they meet typically on Tuesdays after school. The number varies each week, but about 15 students are going, and they work on independent artwork or they work on group artwork. Ms. Kowalski's hoping that they can get together and put a permanent art piece somewhere in the building, so kind of brainstorming ideas about that. Chess Club, they have about 10 to 15 members that are currently going. For some students, it's their first time playing chess, so it's a lot of explaining the rules, and the kids that are there are great at helping each other learn the rules. And typically they'll go over some rules, play games, switch partners, play another game, and continue that. They meet on Wednesdays. Then National Junior Honor Society has their induction ceremony coming up November 2nd. They're going to have 25 new members this year, which would be 7th and 8th graders. And they have their officers and everything already picked out. National Honor Society, they're also going to be having their induction ceremony, which is November.
Week later.
A week later. It's a week later. And they have 29 newly accepted juniors and 4 newly accepted seniors. They're working on planning the ceremonies. Chris Alsop has been running his Magic the Gathering Club, and he's put in a few announcements to try to get students that maybe do not know how to play, but he has cards, and students are going up there and playing. He also started this year a climate club, and they had a table at the Pumpkin Walk this year. So they have about 6 regular members that are showing up, and they're hoping to build the climate club. Tech Club started meeting in September. They have 10 active members in high school, 4 that are real serious about it in middle school right now, but 30 members total. Those are the ones that are constantly showing up. And so they've, as in the past, running the announcements on Mondays and Fridays. We've had some interruptions with Spirit Week this week, so we weren't allowed to have them, not allowed. We didn't have those. We had Forum all week this week because students wanted to have their minute-to-win-it challenges. So we have those this week.
Did you win any, Joe?
No, I got robbed this morning.
Joe did.
I got pushed out of the seat.
Next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he did.
They played musical chairs this morning.
It was like an inch of the chair, Joe.
At the end.
Yeah, you were fully on it.
I know.
These debates will go on for a couple weeks. Senior class, they have their officers trying to make plans to figure out senior trip stuff. They work in the Pumpkin Walk. They have the dance coming up Saturday. They're thinking about possibly a lip sync show. And they also want to work the Colgate concessions. Model UN has been preparing to try to get ready for a major conference. They've decided to back out of the Montreal trip because they didn't feel they were ready for that type of competition. So they're working on building their own skills internally and worked on they had a digital experience with, they were able to work on some conference etiquette and things like that. So they're building. They have a few enthusiastic members that really do want to eventually get to places like Montreal and participate in those big events. FFA, they're constantly going year round. But a few things, they've had their Apple Cheese Curd sale, and Farm Fest volunteering in September. The chapter officer leadership training conference was October 1st. Ag Days at Morrisville, an officer tour over at Morrisville Eaton. Then the Pumpkin Walk, which if you guys went, it was it's really becoming an event. The trunk or treat was amazing. The bus garage had a bus out there, the haunted bus. So it was a really good event. And let's see, Mathletics. Their first Mathletics meet was canceled. The coach over at Westmoreland did end up with COVID, so they had to cancel. So their first meet is going to be this Saturday. And they're going to be approximately 150 students from 12 different schools attending. And we'll probably have 20 of our own students getting up to do some math on a Saturday.
And that's here, right?
And that's here. That's here.
Wow.
Yep.
Cool.
Monica Chamberlain started a new club this year with 5th and 6th graders. It's a STEM club. So their 6th grade has traditionally not had as many opportunities after school, so we're looking to kind of expand that a little bit. So hands-on learning. She's picked up I saw them walking down the hall the other day with baking soda and vinegar, and they were gonna go outside and make things happen, so they have a lot of stuff going on. You know, just building, exploring. They currently have 22 members, so that's pretty popular. And they'll be extracting DNA from pumpkins this month, so. Let's see, fall, or not fall play, I was gonna say fall play. Maskers, dining room is right around the corner, so work on that has been ongoing. Middle school musical auditions are happening with that right now. Was today the last day, correct, for auditions, or do you have more? Today was the last day for auditions. And that'll be December 9th and 10th, and then the high school musical, Big Fish, March 10th and 11th, and I'm sure auditions for that will be right around the corner. I think I got just about everything.
There's a lot.
It's a real shame there's nothing going on around here.
That's it. I think that's it. I probably did forget something, and I apologize if I did.
All right, let's see what's happening in
That's
elementary.
a tough act to follow. Here we go. Art club, first session for third through fifth graders, very popular. We unfortunately kind of hit our limit, so there's going to be another session, a second session, and then also potentially a third session. So art club is popular. I'm just going to tell you the ones that are going on right now. So we have a lot planned for the future dates, but coding club looks like it's going to be starting up towards the end of October, and that'll be Mr. Rogers and the Colgate students are working. That's kind of on the horizon. Mighty Knights Comfortable Cafeteria Club. So this is kind of what Ellen was talking about. I'm really excited about this. So it's a student-led club by Mrs. Merck and Mrs. White. And there's a curriculum, but the premise of it is students are thinking of ways to improve the cafeteria. And I'm really excited about this. It's because it's very much student-driven. And then the students that are part of this club will go into the classrooms and talk to other students. So they're going to do peer teaching. And the cafeteria has been a hot topic lately, so I've had really good conversations informally with students as well. So I'm definitely interested in that. We wrapped up running club already, the first session, and then later on there'll be a Girls on the Run program as well. So kickball, the fall session is wrapping up next week, and then again there's going to be a spring session. Lego Club, we've done intermediate Lego Club, and it's just amazing. So that has been terrific. Legos are not what Legos used to be. I'm just telling you, batteries, lights, all kinds of really cool things. So I popped in there a couple of times, and the kids are really working on some really, really neat projects. So definitely different than the old school Legos of the 80s. So they are loving that. Right now, 4th and 5th grade is doing it. And then, actually we have the 2 sessions going on, so 4th, 5th, and the primary Lego club. So we're getting a lot of use out of those. So. Liberty Kids is back in gear, and that's a literacy club that collaborates with Colgate students. So we try to focus on our early readers, so first graders, and Mrs. Potter does that. Math club is coming up for 2nd graders, so that's going to be neat, and the focus is really like hands-on math learning for that. I just received an email today about a musical theater production that they're starting to plan, so I don't want to give it away yet, but I'm really excited about that. But it's going to be so, and it sounds like we're already starting to think about collaborating with the HCS Reads program, so that's kind of neat. So we have formulating big ideas for that. Mighty Knights Rec Club, so Mr. West, the new PE teacher, has done that this session, and he's been really focused. He had the elementary gym available to him, so he was focusing on a lot of physical activities there, and now he's going to kind of switch it to doing some other recreational activities, potentially with board games and collaborative learning and projects along those lines, so that's neat. Student council is up and going in grades 3 through 5. Our fall plays, rehearsals are going on for that, and the play will be November 18th. So let's see, ukulele club is up and rolling again.
Is that as popular as the Lego club?
Actually, that's funny you asked that, because they've lost a little bit of attendance to Lego Club this year.
Oh, no!
But
Legos.
Maybe they can make one.
But I mean, it's kind of nice that, you know, I mean, it's nice that there's lots of options, so, we're just trying to juggle them all, get
Yeah,
us,
that's the battle, right?
yeah.
Back on one of the things that Mark mentioned, the National Honor Society and National Junior Honor Society. We've had one request so far from them for a board member to come and speak. Corey's done it in the past, so I reached out to Corey when I got that request, and he's willing if we're okay with him taking those on. So I just wanted to make sure we were all good with that. And Corey, I'll turn it over to Beth. She was the one that wrote. And then maybe check in with the site for the junior honor society as well. Because they just started planning, so I don't think they've gotten to the request stage, but you can talk about it there. So thank you for doing that. Mid-year evaluation. We have one of those. Just so you know, Bill and I have been in contact. He is working on his mid-year evaluation, and we are still targeting for our original for November, whatever the original date is. We're trying not to push it out this year at the moment, but we'll see when we're there. And NISPA conference planning. So we have signed up to go to NISPA, correct? Everybody signed up? So we will be going on Thursday, and the Expo Center opens at 1, educational center sessions open at 1. We're thinking we would leave here, missing the morning session, we would leave here around noon. So we would do that and all ride together if everybody's okay with that.
I might just have to drive separate.
But just save on at least not multiple cars.
Thursday I might be able to look at my schedule, but Friday I didn't have to drive separate.
And then Friday there's an event with Farrar.
Yes.
They have food and such. It's from 5:30 to 8. I do not expect to stay till 8, but I was thinking that maybe we could go there and have dinner on them. If those of you that wanted to do that, we just need to register for that. So.
What time does it? 5:30.
5:30.
So I thought 5:30 to 6:30 we'd still be home, but at least we'd eat before we could.
Yeah, maybe we go to the beginning of that.
So Corey and Ellen, yes?
Yeah.
On that one? Okay. And Travis, are you?
Travis is
Unable to attend.
I can't.
So do you want me to register us for the?
Are you going at all, or just not for the park?
What's that?
Were you going at all, or just not for the park?
I'm not able to attend.
The whole thing?
The app is available for downloading now?
Oh, boy.
Was it?
That was really great a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Good about that.
We started lots of sessions. And then Friday, there's lunches, and I will be leaving you guys for lunch and going to lunch with the BOCES board because they're also all going. So I'll have lunch with them at least to be with them for part of the time. Again, food, they like their food, so that's what we're doing.
I've heard.
And that brings us to public participation.
So are you, I can't go
Sorry.
Saturday. Is anybody
Okay.
planning to go Saturday? It's the same weekend as Wolf, so I'm gonna go Friday and go Wolf Saturday, so.
Just no comments.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, let's kind of figure that out as we get there. If that works for you guys? Or let's kind of see where we're at after we see the sessions that are left and such.
Yeah, the only thing is there's the commissioner, conversation with the commissioner, but I don't know.
Yeah, about that musical. The school board meeting musical.
Yeah, I was heartbroken with that.
See, that one's not started on
Anything like
that
this was
session, by the way. So there's no public participation online. We have a few people here tonight. It's so fun to have people here. Anybody want to come to the podium? It is all yours. Seeing
Bill, you wanna
nobody
talk
jump
about-
at that
You
opportunity.
want to talk about this morning?
I'd like to complain.
You want to set up a little musical chairs?
This is your time, Joe.
I was robbed.
Yeah.
You try again.
Musical chairs. Parking station.
Seeing none, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
Alan, Travis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
What is the applicable, like, all I can find is the 2019.
So you have to go through